What's happening, guys? I'm Bobby Runyon. I have a degree in kinesiology. I'm also a certified tennis pro and trainer, and I've also invented fitness equipment that I sell to physical therapy clinics, gyms, and homes. Great for athletes and great for rehab. Check it out, ptbench.com. Anyway, I've got this topic that I think about a lot, and it mostly comes from a spot of concern for our youth tennis players, especially, but also even the pros, all the way up. And sometimes sports evolve for good and sometimes not for good. And with tennis, there's been this big shift, the past probably 12 or 15 years actually, where the forehand has gone open stance pretty much everywhere, it seems like. Just from a physical standpoint, I think about, the small joints and how many injuries we have there with the wrists, elbows, shoulders, right? And then I also think about how durable most, hips and ankles and knees are. And actually, if you have too many issues with these joints, it's mostly from the movement, not so much from swinging, right? Whereas, shoulder injuries come from swinging, right? And the same thing with elbows and wrists, right? So these tend to break pretty easily. They break down, right? And so you have this big shift of stances that have gone from, in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s, where there was more of this linear leg drive into shots, right? So on forehand. So you're here and you're driving into the ball and you have this nice movement from back to front and then just this big shift of weight, right? And the arm was there. And we changed that quite a bit to where, the game got faster. And so initially it was just to where we were, opening up on that far outside forehand side, right? Running over, stopping, and then opening up and not really trying to do anything great with that ball, just trying to get it back. It's a neutral ball, and you're trying to get back to the middle. So you want this open stance to get there fast. Well, the game now has athletes liking this feeling, and so you see a lot of kids, just doing a lot of open stance right from the middle of the court, within 10, 15 feet of the center. And whereas when the backhand comes to them, they of course still close down vast majority of their backhands. Yeah, Djokovic kind of got us going on the out wide, where if you're flexible enough, you can do open stance out wide and really hurry back, which is nice. I don't mind open stance for movement. I think that's where it came from. Now, here's the thing I want you to think about a little bit. Okay, so with these athletes standing in the middle of the court and hitting these balls, some coaches will swear by this rotational power, right? Kind of like a tether ball going around the pole, right? And there is definitely power in this idea of rotating around, right? But also with this idea, you have your elbow, shoulder, and wrist sort of out there on their own. Your core, you're winding up here. You're getting some legs, even though most of your leg drive is going that way, right? And of course, your core is coiling up, right? Boom. And so you can create a lot of power still, even though you're going to feel more stress through your arm than if you go with a linear leg drive, right? So now I get all this energy from back to front and going this way. And if I'm not too closed off, I get my core as well. I get some of this rotational power as well, right? So a couple of things I want you to think about. So if indeed, and so I don't know where you stand on this, but let's say we got a baseball player. Well, I got the golf club, so let's do golf first. So a golfer would never choose to hit their driver like this. So basically, I'm going to try to disprove this idea that rotational power is better than linear leg drive power, right? So if you have a golfer, they would never line up their drive or any shot really like this for power, right? You guys see that this could work. You can hit it pretty far like this, but it's nothing like this. That back to front, right? And yeah, I don't think you're going to lose some power by totally closing it. But if you have a slight open toe, right, you're going to get some opening of the hips, which is good. You're going to get this rotational power, but you're also, more importantly, going to get this great back to front linear leg drive power, right? Well, some of you might argue, well, you got two hands on the club, right? So you have to have that. Okay, well, let's say golf is a one-armed game. Okay, maybe it will be something like that someday, right? So you're telling me that you would choose to hit the golf ball like this for power over this, right? And I would say I doubt it. I think this ball goes farther than this one. Okay, because this is powerful, yes, this rotation, but it's still nowhere near as powerful as this. And that's why generally short ball putaways in tennis are like this, right? Because you're driving back to front. You don't see a lot of putaways. You don't see a lot of short ball putaways like this. No, right? So you say, well, yeah, they need that for their movement to the net. No, I mean, there's no faster movement to the net than being square, right? So that doesn't even make sense. Okay, let's take baseball. So let's say baseball is the same idea. Let's say baseball is a one-arm sport, right? Let's take the whole idea of, oh, you got to have two hands, so therefore it's got to be closed. Well, let's say it's one. There's no way I'm trying to hit the ball out of the park like this as opposed to this. Okay, I don't know about you. Maybe you think you could hit out of the park like this. I know I'm not going to hit out of the park either way, but definitely if I can get these big muscle groups, right? We agree that in all these swinging sports, the power starts from the ground. And so why wouldn't you utilize this back to front motion with our big muscle groups, right? So even within tennis itself, think about this, okay? So would you ever teach a server to serve like this? Dang, you still hit it pretty hard like that. But serve is always like this. It's always closed, right? And even because you can still clear the hips, you get that rotational power, and you get this back to front leg drive. And yet we have all these kids and adults standing in the middle of court doing this. Well, okay, maybe it feels good to you, but guess what? Even on the technical side, I would say that forehands break down much sooner than, especially the two-handed backhand, and that's mostly because the athlete stays on the ball, right? As opposed to, this is very easy to pull out of the shot and frame it, right? Where this is you're going to stay inside. You're going to stay on the shot much more, right? So, and even when it comes to movement, I think it's overdone. Like every one-handed backhand and two-handed backhand, these guys, they're stepping in, and it's not that much. I mean, I don't know what the speed is, but they're all catching up to their backhands. Okay, it's not like they're running out wide, and if they're not doing this, most of the time they're still stepping into the backhand and quickly getting back to the middle, right? So I'm not even sure it makes that much difference with your speed. Maybe a fraction. You're faster this way, right? So the bottom line is this: this is small, this is small, this is small, this is big, right? These are big muscle groups, and all the power starts from the ground. So as far as your ability to stay healthy and not hurt these small muscle groups, if you can teach the athlete to not be, I think a lot of this is driven by laziness, right? So you're just, okay, you watch Federer do it, and granted he's the best ever, and so his arms are tough, right? And he kind of got lucky that he didn't have elbow and shoulder injuries. He hit so many balls, he's very tough, but still, it could have happened where, wouldn't it be a shame if one of these top players had to retire because of an elbow issue or wrist issue? I mean, maybe Dominic Thiem hit too many open stance forehands. I don't know. We don't really know. But where if they had the time and if they could have just done this more often and gotten that easy power, right, from these big muscle groups. This is easy power, way more easy than this. This might feel easier, right? It might take less energy to do this, but the ball will pop off the bracket if you're letting your hips lean into the shot and that energy is going that direction and not going this way and leaving these little joints out here to fend for themselves, right? So if I ever have a child, my kid within, 12 feet of center, I'm going to be, from 4 years old, I'm going to have him leaning into shots and not getting used to this stuff, right? And because I want him to generate that easy power, just like he does with his backhand, whether it's one-handed or two-handed, he'll be like this. I mean, hopefully the sport doesn't evolve to where we think you can stand in the middle of court and do this all day. I don't see the backhand going that way. If it does, I'll be shocked, but I was also shocked to see the forehand totally go this way, thinking that rotational power was the way to go when this easy power, when you have plenty of time, is a no-brainer. Anyway, please comment. Let me know your thoughts.